I am Dred Scott. I've been Dred Scott since 1987, really. You know, I took the name, I figured my parents named me Scott, and I had dreadlocks at the time. I'm gonna be Dred Scott, that's perfect. It's both a bad pun, but also, you know, anytime anybody says my name, if they know anything about US history, they're gonna have to think back to the 1857 Supreme Court case, where, you know, where it was ruled that there are no rights that a black person has that a white man is bound to respect, which I think, you know, black people are not chattel slaves anymore, but the basic social relations that existed in the founding of this country exist today. And so I wanted people to think about that. And yeah, so I am Dred Scott.
Be a warrant for your arrest.
I make revolutionary art to propel history forward. I'm a visual artist, professional troublemaker. I work in a lot of different media. Sometimes my work shows in galleries and museums, most of it does, but sometimes it shows on street corners. Sometimes I got permission to show there, sometimes I don't. Yeah, that's what I do. I am an artist. I mean, it's not just, I mean, it's like, you know, if you make art, if it walks like a duck, squawks like a duck, it's a duck. I mean, I show in, you know, the Whitney Museum, the Brooklyn Museum. You know, I'm an artist. I work in photography, performance, video, installations, screen printing, sometimes painting. You know, that's what artists do. So yeah, I'm an artist. I make work that really encourages an audience to confront a lot of the cohering values of modern society, particularly American society, since that's where I live, but also to imagine how the world could be radically different and far better. And it really flows out of a desire for humanity to sort of get beyond this you know, situation where people are confronting each other as exploiters and exploited, oppressed and oppressor, and it's unnecessary. So this is an artist studio, and I share it with my wife, Jenny Polak, who's also an artist. The main project that's going on in the studio is this. This is Slave Rebellion Reenactment, which is a community-engaged project about freedom and emancipation that is going to reenact the largest rebellion of enslaved people in North American history. This, if you want to come over. So it's a print that just says, "Imagine a world." And then as you can see, it very faintly says, "Without America." Actually, you know, I want people to imagine it and, you know, really imagine a world that they'd want to live in and complicate that by thinking of it without America. Even if you think America's a really good place, which I don't. I think America is just a real nightmare for humanity. But, okay, so they took the piece on paper. This is on metal. I woke up to gunshots one morning at like 4 in the morning or something, and I'm like, man, there's a lot of shots. This is not normal. I mean, and it's like, indeed, you turn on the TV and police killed somebody, right? So I said, look, you know, I don't want to disrespect the brother, but I would love to bring one of these signs out. Would you all be cool with that? And the people were like, yeah, hell yeah, that sounds great. And so we put one up, and when the cops saw it, I mean, they were like literally like across the street, and it just sort of appeared. They didn't know how the fuck it happened. They were like, I mean, the sergeant was like pissed. I was like, all right, cool, fuck y'all. So I did this work called What is the Proper Way to Display a US Flag, which had a photo montage on the wall, which had text that read, what is the proper way to display a US flag? Below the montage was a shelf that had books on it that were originally blank, and below that was a flag that people had the option of standing on as they wrote their responses. And you had asked whether or not I expected the reaction that happened to this piece, and the simple answer is no. There was no precedent for that. You know, Salman Rushdie got sort of denounced by the mullahs in Iran, and that was the first time during my lifetime, or at least during my adulthood, where any piece of artwork or writing or novel or anything had been denounced by the heads of state. And then a couple of weeks later, my work is on the front page of all the Chicago newspapers and is a story on ABC and CBS and NBC. And so I was completely unprepared, but it was also very validating that the ideas that I was talking about mattered to the point where people from the housing projects would come wait in line for an hour to see this artwork by a then unknown art student in a Midwestern art school, but then to have ultimately through a lot of twists and turns it get to the point where George Bush called the work disgraceful, and I was like, yo, the President of the United States knows I exist? damn, and he doesn't like what I'm doing? Well, hell yeah, I want to do this for the rest of my life. This is a really great job. I got more death threats than commissions. I don't know when work that I make is going to either be controversial, whether it's going to be loved, whether it's going to be hated. I don't know. My job as an artist is to make work that deeply reflects the times that we live in, and to try and understand that, to try and go for what's true, and present that to people in as sweeping a way as possible.